This is the story of Cain and Abel, a tale spun from the very fabric of our existence, where choices echoed through eternity. I've always been fascinated by this story, especially the ambiguity surrounding it. It's not just a story of murder, but a study of jealousy, of anger, and the repercussions of unchecked emotions. It's a cautionary tale, a mirror reflecting the potential darkness within us all. In my reimagining, I wanted to capture the essence of suspense, to build a narrative that keeps you on the edge of your seat, wondering what choices will be made and what sacrifices will be demanded. Think of it as a psychological thriller set against the backdrop of creation. Our story begins with the formation of the earth. Through rapid, stylized animation, we see the world come into being. And then our focus narrows to Adam and Eve, our first parents. Their image is depicted with a strong emphasis on Cain and Abel, foreshadowing the story's central theme. Stylized visuals paired with a driving electronic beat underscore the weight of their legacy. As we cut quickly between images of Adam and Eve and their sons, a sense of foreboding builds. The music pulses, hinting at the discord that will soon unfold. The scene shifts to a desolate, windswept landscape, setting the stage for the conflict to come. Sheep dot the horizon, their woolly forms blending with the rugged terrain. The ominous synth pad that has been playing softly until now rises to the forefront, heightening the scene's tension. A subtle ripple transition moves the camera across the barren landscape, drawing our attention to the sheep. The inclusion of a slow-moving dust effect adds to the overall sense of foreboding. The narrator's voice, deep and resonant, echoes slightly as if from a great distance, lending an air of solemnity to the unfolding tale. We hear about Adam and Eve, their two sons, Cain, the farmer, and Abel, the shepherd, and the approaching harvest. However, a cloud of conflict hangs over the idyllic setting. The narrator tells us that the seeds of discord have already been sown. The music shifts, taking on a low, pulsating quality as we witness Cain's offering, or what is meant to be an offering. The scene is rendered in muted colors with long, dark shadows adding to the visual unease. A subtle drone sound effect underscores the tension. Quick cuts and a shaky camera effect amplify the sense of urgency and chaos. The grain spills dramatically from his hand, cascading down in a torrent of golden wheat. The addition of a brief, white flash as the grain hits the ground, a visual representation of the disruption, creates a startling impact. The narrator's voice takes on an urgent tone as he asks why God is so angry. God's voice, when it comes, is a warning, a plea, layered with a low, pulsating synth. A sound effect of a brief, unsettling chime is introduced. The music builds, driven by a steady rhythmic element as the voice continues, urging Cain to do what is right so that he can be accepted. The scene accelerates slightly during the word accepted, focusing on a slow-motion shot of Cain's hand reaching out. His face is obscured, his features hidden, perhaps intentionally to avoid detection or perhaps in a gesture of defeat. The next scene presents Abel's offering. In stark contrast to Cain's hasty and inadequate tribute, Abel presents the firstborn of his flock, a lamb unblemished and pure. This is done with a slow-motion, almost reverent shot. The warmth of the golden light on the sheep emphasizes its purity. The camera angle, slightly elevated, looking up at the animal, adds a sense of reverence to the scene. A soaring orchestral cue plays, a stark contrast to the electronic soundscapes that dominated Cain's offering. As Abel completes his task, the music swells, and a sound effect of a gentle, ethereal choir seems to bless the offering. God's response, however, carries a note of warning, using the same words spoken to Cain, but with a different inflection. God tells Abel to be careful not to let sin control him, but to take control of it. The music builds to a crescendo. In the final scene, we see a close-up of God's animated face. The image is powerful, slightly imposing, yet majestic. Dramatic lighting and a slow zoom on his face as he speaks add to the intensity of the moment. A layered synth texture underscores the weight of his words, and a slow, pulsating visual effect in the background hints at the consequences of disobedience. The voice becomes a low, dramatic whisper as he concludes his warning, reminding us of the momentous choice made by Adam and Eve in the garden. The scene fades out, leaving us suspended in the face of divine judgment. As the story concludes, we return to the opening animation, but this time it's sped up, chaotic, and overlaid with the words, "the seed of sin." A glitch effect on the text adds a layer of unease. The use of CapCut's particle effect transforms the screen into a visually intense battleground, underlining the destructive power of the choice made by Cain. The abrupt fade to black, punctuated by a jarring sound effect, leaves us in a state of shock, mirroring the suddenness of divine retribution. My hope was to craft a narrative that resonates with audiences today, a story that transcends time and touches upon universal themes of jealousy, anger, and the struggle between good and evil. By delving into the complexities of these characters, I wanted to create a story that stays with you long after the credits roll. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the captivating narrative of Cain and Abel. I look forward to sharing more creative projects with you in the future. Until then, stay curious, keep creating, and I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you for watching. We hope that we have expanded your knowledge somewhat. It would be awesome if you would join us, comment, like and subscribe. See you next time. Have a great day.